generosity. I'm Charles Brownstein. I'm the Executive Director of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and I'll be moderating the Q&A portion of this today. By all means, this is a program about art, about craft, and everybody's here to learn and exchange ideas. So please feel free to throw out questions. We'll be answering throughout the program. Feel free to follow along, and there's no question too basic or too advanced for these. So please, by all means, whatever your skill level, participate. So first of all, Terry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you need a corner, I'm here.
So we asked you today to talk about what I call and what many people call acting in comics, and basically it's drawing characters with character. One of the hallmarks of your work on Strangers in Paradise and Echo is that you really excel at demonstrating body language and expression and emotion through your line art in a way that is really unique. But anybody that draws knows that it takes a great deal of skill and empathy to create those sorts of gestures. So I'd like you to talk today about the approach to that particular tool, skill.
Okay. It's kind of, in a nutshell, I'll tell you the most important thing first, and then you can leave. I learned it all from cartooning. The whole thing about cartooning, I guess what I paid attention to first was like the Warner Brothers stuff. And anytime you read about how they drew Bugs Bunny or whoever, they were always talking about the body language and how to get expressions out of, just a few lines. So I started off trying to just do cartoons, which was basically, I gotta draw harder. Okay. Where they're just doing all that stuff like you see in the books. And then somebody does that, it goes through about 4 steps, and suddenly it's Mona Lisa. But I found that I couldn't make a living as just cartooning, even though I thought it was fun. But anything you can do with, say, Supergirl's face or Francine's face or something like that, you're supposed to be able to do it with a smiley face first. And I was just always thinking about that, like, I was thinking about, there's smiley face Kachu. There's smiley face Casey. Francine, just add that. So, the one thing that I was thinking about when I was trying to figure out how to do faces and all that, the first thing that I noticed was that a lot of artists, they'll memorize one beautiful way to draw, like a girl, and then they don't want to mess with it, because if they mess with it, they may not keep the beautiful girl face. So I was thinking about it when I first started doing SIP that, I really need to stretch her face out, pull her eyes, make the unflattering poses in order to get her to have any life to her. And 2 things struck my mind when I was doing that, and I'll just point them out to you. I remember reading about James Dean when he was practicing his craft to be an actor and everything. He would spend, I read this, I guess it's true, that he spent hours in front of a mirror learning how to control his face, learning how to get the nuances of expression. He didn't just go out in the camera in any mode, he actually knew what he looked like while he was doing it. So he was practicing all those little, where you put the eyebrows, how much are open or closed the eyes are, how his body leans, all that stuff. His school, the Strasbourg School of Acting, that's what they were into at the time. So I knew that if he thought it was important, then an artist should bloody well better know it. And I also noticed when I was going through family photographs, that if you look at, say, photographs of one person over, say, 5 years and all these different situations, they look so different depending on whether they were relaxed or laughing or yelling because they're swinging out over the lake. You know, it was really amazing how much one face could change. And I thought about that when I was drawing the characters in SIP or whoever I'm drawing now, is that their face can stretch and change. They don't always have to look like a pinup in order to be the same person. As a matter of fact, it's kind of attractive if they don't. Well, you know, Jim Carrey is a really extreme version of that. But I'll tell you a more attractive version of that is Allison Hannigan. What's the name of her show now on TV? No, that's not. Oh yeah, that is it. And so I remember the scene where she's talking about band camp in American Pie. Something struck me. Well, first of all, I laughed my ass off, but also noticed that her face was really animated. And I was watching it on a digital recorder, and I went through and just slowly went through frame by frame, like that, watching the entire scene and watching Allison Hannigan's face. No two frames are alike on her face. And I think she's still doing the same type of emoting now on the TV show. She does not, and if you'll notice amateur car salesmen on their TV commercial, they're deadpan and their face may be monochromatic or monotone. But you watch somebody like Allison, and her eyebrows and her face is just all over the place, emoting and pushing that out. Well, we all have a general idea of what we think Allison looks like. Say you're going to draw the Buffy comic. But if you caught any one freeze frame, you may find a really exaggerated version as her face stretches and pulls. And what you get in the end is somebody with a tremendous amount of life and delivery. So that's another tip I'll hang out there to you. Next time you are watching American Pie at home in your underwear, drinking a beer, waiting for somebody to call, just look through that stuff frame by frame. Or just do it with a TV show. Okay, so here we have like kind of generic face, kind of tense. Let's say this is just my generic character, because that's kind of what I just draw without thinking. So if we were to say, let's do it on the same face. You see, it's kind of small. I should draw bigger. You know why I draw small? Because that is panel size. That's why I don't draw pinups. So there's that. She's leaning forward. She's talking, and she's saying, "Please, where's the bathroom?" Or she's saying, "Oh God, not one of those huge pretzels again. I can't do that 3 days in a row." And what if she did eat the pretzel? One time, two. Then the first place I would go is the eyes. She's not feeling so good. One eye's big, one eye's small. If this eye's flat, that means the eyebrow's going to be flat. This eye's open, the eyebrow pulled it open a little bit. And I would have to think, she can barely keep that thing in there. Oh, good. Okay, now my pretty girl is really nauseous. So she goes back to the bathroom and makes a horrible scene that everybody that's walking out for the next 15 minutes goes, "Oh my God, don't go in here." Now she feels good. And she's thinking, you know what? I'm going to give a second look at Bohemian. Because I feel skinny. Okay, here's just kind of smiling. butt, well, besides the fact that her eyes look like Alfred Newman, her eyes are not that exciting. This is just her talking. What if she fell in love? I'm not exactly dead on because this thing is right here. So I'm actually off to the side, which is another thing. Don't ever do that. Don't get in the habit of drawing sideways like this. And you're over here. Or some, lesser extreme example. You're off to the side. There are some books that are in production, that have been in production for years, where the artist is obviously drawing just a little bit off center. His head's off center. And all of his characters are skewed. And nothing is symmetrical on the face. And that's just kind of a habit people get into. I always find myself at home with my head off to one side and kind of over here as if I was writing a letter. But you're not. You need to get right on top and get targets so that otherwise, you can get a little bit. Okay, what did we do? Oh, we were so again, it's all about the eyes and the eyebrows. Or maybe she just saw a bunch of Spartans. There's a bunch of hard-bodied Spartans walking around. Women and gay guys are going nuts. So, there she is. She's being very polite. She's thinking, oh man, you just look great. My boyfriend can do that. He would just work out and stop drinking Dr. Pepper all the time. So that's what she thinks now. So she marries the boyfriend who doesn't work out. 45 years later, he's a sneak job at butt. And when she sees the Spartans, she can't help herself. It's so horny. That's just kind of excited for me. This is just That's 3 a.m. closing time morning. Okay, I can. So, this pencil right here, I'm so attached to this pencil, it's like my 1958 vintage Les Paul. It's like super, I've drawn everything since the middle of SIP work. We went to France, and there was an art store there, Senneliers, I don't speak French. I speak French accent, but I don't speak French words. Anyway, it's been there forever, and then, all the painters used to buy their paints there. And so I went in there, and of course, I don't have any paints or anything, but it's the same shop that, like, the guys in the museum bought their stuff at, all the impressions. So I bought this pencil, and I can't find it anywhere in the United States. And it's just perfect, and the little eraser goes out, the little eraser goes in, and it's just the right, I find that I do better with a skinny pencil. Somebody like, well, I know guys that love the big fat pencils because the big problem is, the hand cramping like that, but that's pretty good. This is why I don't have Skype account. Cartooning is dangerous. Okay. So, we have the horny girl 3 in the morning. Why won't we let that go? Okay, so